You're at the Coaching Inn, 3D Coaching's virtual pub, where we enjoy conversations with people who are engaged in the world of coaching.
Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the Coaching Inn, where I'm going to be talking to Koralia Timotheou about her book, Restory, Restore, Restart. Koralia and I met at the Business Book Awards in 2024 when we sat next to each other on a table with wearing bling, I remember. Just a reminder, if you want to get every episode as it downloads, do like or follow this podcast, The Coaching Inn, where you download your podcasts. And if you want to make a comment or invite someone else to be a listener, that would be fantastic. Koralia, welcome.
Hello, welcome. Thank you for having me.
It's
Thank
a pleasure.
you for the invitation.
It's a pleasure.
And welcome to my living room.
Thank you. And a lovely living room it is. So where in the world are we?
Now we are in Brussels, in Belgium.
Nice. But you're originally, were you born in Brussels or are you from somewhere else?
I'm from Cyprus. I'm Cypriot.
Nice.
Yes.
Yeah. Great. So you're now a coach and you've written this book. Tell us about your journey into coaching.
Okay. Well, my coaching journey started a little bit as a midlife crisis. And I'd rather reword it and rename it as a midlife awakening.
Nice.
Okay, so some 10 years ago, my life looked very different than it is today. I had a corporate job and a big family and the house and the cat and the car and, the long to-do list. And I was living in this really fast pace of the business world. And then at some point I said, whoa, hold on. What are you doing and why? So from then onwards, I started rethinking my whole, life purpose. Do you want? What do I really want to do? So I retrained. I trained my intuition. I trained on hypnosis and other coaching techniques and methods. And then here I am.
Wow. And it's lovely that you're following last week's guest who was talking about midlife, Helen Kewell. So what a joy it is to have you on this week and to build on what she was saying. That's great.
Synchronicities.
Absolutely. So what does your life look like now?
Okay. Well, I quit the corporate job. I kept the kids. I did that. And then I started dividing my time between the two things that I loved most as a child. Oh. So in reinventing myself, I went back to the basics. I went back to my childhood. And what did I look like as a child, as a kid, and how my interactions were with others. And there I found that my two, loves was writing. So half of my time I devote in writing. And the other half is that, I noticed that as a child, I didn't thrive on leadership or on team games. And what was really good for me was having intimate one-on-one conversations with people, with my friends and with strangers. So from that, I figured that, coaching is something that I could, it speaks to me. It's something that comes natural to me because of that intimacy of a small group of people talking together and supporting each other. So, now half of my time is coaching and half of my time is writing.
Nice. We'll have to find out about the new book then, but we'll find out about the last book first. I'm fascinated that in this midlife awakening, you returned to that one-on-one space, and I'm guessing that wasn't how you'd spent the first part of your career.
definitely not. Well, okay, we change as we upgrade and we change as people, but it's also once you get rid of the social pressure and what you should do, what you ought to, what you want to prove to others. Once you've done that, and then you don't really need it anymore, then you turn inwards and ask, what do I want?
Mm-hmm.
Is that what I want? And maybe for some time it worked and it gave me a lot of experience and it was great for a while, but it was not sustainable forever for the whole lifetime.
Yeah. Yeah. What courage it takes, doesn't it, to make a big step?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So what's been your biggest learning from going back to or going forward to those childhood passions?
Actually, it helped me help my clients to find their own life purpose, because I worked on this myself and I had this shift, this experience of changing my direction. Then I thought that this is a good way of helping others do the same.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, when we are children and we don't care about what other people think or say, and our intention is pure, and we know what we want, what we really want, then this is the place we should be, because this is what comes natural to us before being polluted and infected by our environment.
Yeah. And you've shown such courage.
Well, I don't know. It was a dead end for me, actually. It was so strong, the need to change and the need to do something for me. It was very strong. It wasn't really smooth. I don't know if it was courage or survival instinct. It was stronger than that.
Yeah.
It really drove me there.
Wow, it drove you.
Yes.
That's very strong, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell us about the book, because I was so struck by Restory being the first word of the title.
Okay. And you tell me why you were struck by that word.
Because I like the idea of story.
Okay.
And I think that Restory has redemption in it.
Okay. Basically, the book, the idea of the book, it started. I was writing weekly articles for the newspapers, and then a client of mine suggested that I put the articles together to make a book. So I said this might be a good idea, and I started doing it. But then I changed my mind because there was no cohesion. It was like bits and pieces, potpourri, and it didn't flow. So then I changed the whole thing to try and structure it better. And the thing that what I thought most important was the role of stories in our lives. And I believe that we are both creators and products of stories. Okay, in what sense? Every day that we live, every activity that we do, we are creating a story. It's our narrative. Okay, so for example, when I was like 10 years old, I was walking in my grandparents' garden, and then a snake bit me. Okay, so this is a story, right?
A painful one.
Exactly. But then this story shapes our subconscious because of that experience that I had that was very painful and very stressful and very traumatic. Then my subconscious learned that, wow, whenever you see a snake, don't go there. It's not going to be good. right? So a belief was shaped in my subconscious, and it follows me ever since. And I'm not the only one, because in this example, this is a global example, a global experience. And I think it is stronger if the initial experience is strong. So the strength of the subconscious belief is proportional to the pain of the initial event. It is also affected by how many times it happened. So did it happen once, or did it happen many times? And it's also affected by how many people had this experience, because we have this collective memory and the stories that pass from generation to generation. So the incidents of humans and snakes go back in history and prehistoric times. So this is why the instinct that is in our subconscious, that our subconscious is programmed, this instinct is so strong because of the severity of the encounter and because of how many stories have verified the fact that if you meet a snake, you might get bitten, and if you do, then SOS, right? Yes. This is an example of a helpful story, okay, and it's good. But then you've got the other stories that are not so helpful. For example, if I have had a relationship that failed, or if I had a harsh childhood, or a business failure, or an academic failure, in the same way, this belief may be rooted in my subconscious. Just the story with the snake, it works in the same way. The subconscious can't distinguish between the two. So if I have a painful relationship in the past, then in my present and future, I am subconsciously aware that relationships are potentially painful. So I avoid them, or run away from them, or I screw them up. Yeah. So the whole point is to realize that our subconscious is formed from stories that we and other people around us create. And then once we know that, we can change the stories. So we can restore our life and, take control, stop being on the autopilot, and just assess every single little story, every single moment, every single day, with a clear mind and a clear heart, without being held by beliefs that have been true for thousands of years, but they're not always so.
Yeah. I'm really struck by what you said about the snake, because I was attacked by a cat as a child.
Okay.
But that has really affected my relationship with cats. I don't have a relationship with cats. But what's interesting about that is that it's not a story that's shared by others generally, because generally people's experience of cats is that they like them and that they're cuddly and friendly and everything else. So isn't that interesting how you can get how you can get differently affected, as you said, when the story goes back, back to the history of time, through the whole history of time.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. How interesting. I'm never going to like cats, by the way. That's a choice. We're not a cat house. Yeah. So restory. What a powerful word that is. And what's the impact that you see on that, of that work when you're working with people?
Well, people always want to start fresh. People always want to feel that they can make a new beginning, and they can. I mean, every day, every moment of our lives is an opportunity to change something or everything. It's up to us. So it's really strong because people want to change, and people want to move forward and leave behind the junk that we carry, the burden, and the mistakes, the pain. So it's really liberating. And restore, when you see your life as a sequence of stories rather than one story, then it's easier to change them. It's like you have episodes. So it's not really rigid. You can change one, you can move another, and it's really doable instead of, picturing my whole life as one story in one chunk. And it's really hard to shift.
So for you, I'm really interested. What's the difference for you between the coaching work and therapy?
I don't know. Okay, I don't know. Actually, I work with lots of clients that do therapy at the same time. Okay, so what I can tell you is that from my experience, they are complementary. Okay, I'm not an expert in therapy, but from what I understand is that in therapy, you get to acknowledge your emotions and externalize them, talk about them. In coaching, you actually get to put goals and do something more actively about it. So it's more hands-on. And I think people like that because, okay, of course you want the relief of getting something out of your system and discussing it and telling somebody, but then it doesn't just go away by remembering it and saying it aloud. You have to do something about it. You have to change the mindset. You have to take action.
So there's the future focus thing from coaching. Yeah. It's interesting because we had a conversation on here the other day with Oscar Trimboli, and he was talking about who does a lot of work around listening. And he was saying that he was working with somebody, and what became clear is that they needed therapy. And they came back and said, I'm ready for coaching now. And he said, ask your therapist.
Yeah.
Which was a really interesting question. And the therapist said no. So he did come back in the end, but he didn't come back straight away. So there's something, isn't there, in what you're describing about how do we have a really adult conversation so that the person is talking to their therapist about whether or not they're ready for coaching.
Yes. Okay, I get that. Yeah. But it's not, one doesn't stop you from doing the other. I mean, that you can never be not ready for coaching. It's just you take your time. So it doesn't really matter because you can follow through in the pace that you want. It's not a matter of getting there in a week or a month or whatever.
Yeah. But it just, yes, it depends, I guess, on it depends on what you're bringing, doesn't it, to the coaching space?
Yes.
So, restory, restore, restart. So tell us about those other words.
Okay. About restore. Okay. Restore refers to us getting to know our true selves that have always been there, but have been hidden under a lot of junk and a lot of, social norms and stereotypes. So to restore is to really tune in and get to know yourself. And here, in this section of the book, what I really like about it. Okay, can I say that I like my book? Okay,
of course you can say you like your book. I like mine.
Okay, so what I really like there is that I am trying to link life to the principles of physics.
Ah,
Okay, so I'm not a physicist, but I have an engineering background, so I know a little bit about physics. And what strikes me is the similarities of how the world of nature, the universe works, with how life works. And it all starts with energy and the famous energy and matter equation, the relativity equation by Albert Einstein, and lots of other physicists and mathematicians as well. They have articulated laws and principles that apply in our everyday life. Okay, so this is really very important for me because it makes everything simpler. Sometimes we think that life is complicated, but then if you take a step back and look at it and see that the principles of nature and physics apply in the same way in our life, then it all gets natural and simple. And when you feel heaviness, it's not like there's something wrong with you. It's the energy there. And the energy is relative to matter, and they are both forms of the same. So restoring means appreciating that, understanding that our lives are simple, that they are governed by the laws of nature, the same laws that have created this vast universe. And it's really nice and beautiful and hopeful to know that we are part of this puzzle and not something outside of it or something against it or something different from it. It's like everything falls into place.
that's really interesting because if I relate back to the conversation last week with Helen Kewell, she's written a lot about midlife, and her journey to explore midlife started with her journey as a therapist to talk about dying and the normality of the circle of life, really, the normality of humanity.
Yeah, and and I think we are part of a whole, an entity that is one, and it's the universe, and we are tiny cells of that vast organism, that vast body that the universe is. And it's just such a pity that we can't see it, because there's no way we can see it because we are in it. We are small, but it's such a powerful antidote to fear and to frustration and to anger when we get to realize that we are all one. And it's not it's not theory, it's physics. It's there. That's it.
It's physics. So your third word is restart. So tell us about that.
Okay. Then once you have restored, changed the stories, and once you have reconnected to your true nature, then it's time to restart. And there are some techniques there to help people on their journey to restart. And these are such as some of these are decluttering. So getting rid of what you don't need in your life, and this may be material things, or it may be toxic relationships, or it may be too many social interactions that you don't really want but you think that you have to do. So it's all those little things, those little strategies that you can put into place, and being mindful and being present and showing up, and keep it simple.
Yeah, that's my philosophy about everything. Keep it simple.
Yeah.
So what's the next book going to be, Koralia?
Okay. The next book is a novel. It's my
nice.
attempt. Yeah. It's my first attempt to write a novel. And again, I want to use this opportunity through literature this time, through more writing more as an art, to show that the same things actually, to show
nice.
how we are interrelated and how stories sometimes dictate our lives, even though we don't realize it, we don't perceive it, and how we can change that. So it's just a different form of literature, but it's the same context.
Yeah. And how's the writing process going?
I'll let you know when I'm done, but I'm writing it in Greek. So yeah, because it's a lot easier for me to write in Greek. So I will need to get someone to translate it as well. So hopefully by the end of the year,
nice,
somewhere there.
Nice. I was writing last week. I'm not sure I came out with any useful words.
What are you writing?
It's about coaching and neurodiversity. I'm writing it with a couple of allies, Nathan and Kim.
Okay. That's interesting.
But we're finding our voice at the moment, and that's taking a lot of time.
So Claire, if you go back to your childhood, did you like writing?
Well, I really thought when you said something earlier, I thought, oh, that's so interesting. I really liked sewing.
Okay.
I really liked crafts, and I thought, oh, maybe I can get back to that, actually. As you were talking earlier, I thought that'd be interesting. I think I did like writing, but I move on to the next thing quite quickly. So.
Yeah, but you know what? They are all crafts, and sewing and writing. They are all forms of expression.
Yeah.
It may not be that different. I mean, the root, the need to express and share, is still there. It's the same.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So I have started actually 30 years on, picked up my knitting needles and my sewing machine and done some stuff. So yeah, it's interesting.
Who knows?
Who knows? So your book is Restory, Restore, Restart, and that's available on Amazon. If people want to talk to you, how do they get in contact with you, Koralia?
Okay. They can use my email, my business email, which is info@koraliatimotheou.com. And they can visit my website, which is koraliatimotheou.com. It's just my name and surname. And they can find me on Facebook as well. Right. So these are 3 ways to connect.
I will put that in the show notes.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
So, Koralia, thank you very much for coming to the Coaching In.
Thank you. It was great. It was a great conversation. It was nice seeing you again.
You too. You too.
Good luck with your writing.
And good luck with yours. My novel is a bit further off. I think I've got some ideas about a novel, but it's not for yet.
Aha. Oh, this sounds interesting. Good luck.
I've got a title and I've got a person.
Okay. That's a good start.
It is a good start, isn't it? So thank you. And we look forward to seeing you all at the next episode. And thank you, Koralia, for coming.
Thank you so much, Claire. Thank you. Take care.
Bye-bye. Bye.
If you've enjoyed what you've heard today, we'd love you to share the podcast with a friend or leave a comment on social media. And if you'd like to become a regular at the Coaching In, you can subscribe on Podbean and all major podcast channels. We look forward to welcoming you next time. You've been listening to The Coaching In, 3D Coaching's virtual pub. For more information, check out 3dcoaching.com.